Welcome back to Local News Live, and welcome to this special edition of Explore the Issue. Today we will be talking about all things holiday. We made it to the end of the year, and that means the holidays are here, and our stations across Gray Television, they're covering the holidays from every single angle, and we are going to share those stories with you over the course of the next hour. But first, I wanted to bring you your top Christmas headlines for this holiday season, so let's jump right into it here. The first one is about, unfortunately, a bah humbug story. Inflation hasn't spared the prices of celebrating the 12 days of Christmas this holiday season. The cost of everything from a partridge in a pear tree to 12 drummers drumming will run you a record $45,000. That's nearly an 11% leap from last year. That's according to the PNC. The financial services firm has compiled its annual Christmas price index for the past 39 years. 5 gold rings account for part of the price increase, with the value of gold up 39%. And paying the Lords a leaping and ladies dancing is also more expensive because of labor shortages and wage hikes. Those Lords a leaping and ladies dancing, man, they need their money. PNC says its annual Christmas price index is meant to educate consumers about the economy, but also spark some holiday joy, a fun way to keep tabs on the economy. So hopefully that sparked some holiday joy and didn't make you feel very Grinch-like or bah humbug-like. Okay, so unfortunately, this is another bah humbug story. If a higher-end iPhone 14 is on your Christmas list, it may be harder than usual to find one before the holidays. And if you haven't already ordered an iPhone 14 Pro or Pro Max, you may be out of luck. According to Apple's website, the iPhone 14 Pro and 14 Pro Max are showing as unavailable for pickup in most locations. And UBS, which tracked iPhone availability in 30 countries, found the shipping time in the United States to be 34 days. Many cities now showing delivery dates of December 28th or even later. Apple said they do sometimes ship products ahead of the stated delivery date. The wait times come as Apple confronts supply chain constraints and increased COVID-19 restrictions at its main assembly facility in China. However, the iPhone 14 and iPhone 14 Max show availability on Apple.com in many locations for same-day pickup. Now, Apple did say that its stores do get regular shipments, and it's possible some retailers and wireless carriers have more phones in stock than Apple. So customers should continue to check in for their local in-store pickup options at their local stores. Okay, this next story, not fun, at least for me to look at, but I'll let you come to your own conclusions here. Okay, since pumpkin spice Spam was surprisingly popular a few years ago, the canned meat brand has introduced another unique holiday flavor, Spam Figgy Pudding. Okay, so what is figgy pudding, you ask? It's a traditional British Christmas dessert made with seasonal spices, beef fat, and dried fruit. So think Spam with notes of cinnamon, nutmeg, orange, and fig. Spam Figgy Pudding could be a nice addition to your holiday charcuterie board. At the very least, it will be a talker at your holiday party. I mean, that would be an understatement. Spam Figgy Pudding is available for purchase now for a limited time. Of course, you can find it on Amazon or Walmart or Spam websites. Spam as in the brand, not spam websites, if you catch my drift. Okay, this next story is really fun, especially for the parents who participate in the Elf in the Shelf tradition. Elf on the Shelf is getting a new challenger from a rather unlikely place, salad dressing. Meet Ranchie. He's more adorable than a bottle of dairy and spice has a right to be. Ranchie is the star of Hidden Valley's Ranch on a Branch holiday tale. It borrows heavily from Elf on the Shelf, where owners are asked to move Ranchie to a new spot every day, and that helps him inspire people to spread joy, which may power him to achieve his dream of becoming a real bottle of ranch dressing. You can order your own plush Ranchie, of course, online. And he also comes with an illustrated storybook. This is really funny and kind of a genius marketing ploy. So, all right, Ranchie on the Branchie, definitely a funny spin on Elf on the Shelf. All right, so if you are like me and you went into stores right after Halloween and you started noticing Christmas decorations everywhere you looked, well, you're not alone. And our station in Lansing, Michigan, they actually looked into why Christmas started the day after Halloween this year. So this is just one story we will be sharing with you over the course of the next hour from our Gray television stations who are covering every angle of this holiday season. You can definitely count on them to keep your community in the loop. So let's go ahead and get to this very important topic about why Christmas started the day after Halloween. Let's take you to it.
Christmas is here, or at least that's what you'd think walking into any store right now. News 10's Claudia Sella says stores are decking the halls with their holiday inventory earlier this year, hoping shoppers worried about inflation will start buying sooner.
Have you ever noticed the holiday seasons start way earlier than they used to? Halloween was just this week. It's not even Thanksgiving yet, but every single aisle is decked out in Christmas decor. Well, it's not all in your head. Experts say the holidays are starting sooner.
Well, actually, I love it because I was waiting for it to come, you know?
Yeah.
No. Heavens no. I'm thinking about Thanksgiving menu in a couple of weeks.
Whether you love it or not, it's hard to deny Christmas is all around.
So I don't like to think quite so far ahead.
Experts say retailers have been sneaking Christmas in earlier, and there's a few reasons why.
Planning ahead is always good for the consumer, right? Because you can control your expenses better.
With inflation on the rise, Michigan State marketing expert Dr. Ayala Rubio says more people are getting holiday shopping done sooner, and stores are encouraging it.
So consumers are trying to spread out their spendings, and companies react to that.
Putting product on the shelves earlier helps retailers avoid supply chain issues. And Dr. Stephen Melnick with MSU says making the season longer solves another issue.
If I can spread my demand out over a time period, what I do is I don't have as many concerns about staffing.
When the pandemic started, companies ordered more product than they needed, and now they're scrambling to sell it.
You're going to find that you can get some really nice deals.
I just went and bought a Charlie Brown Christmas the other day. Right.
Getting a jump start on making sure the holiday shopping season is a happy one for gift givers and stores alike. In Lansing, Claudia Sella, News 10.
The National Retail Federation says holiday spending is expected to go up this year. Shoppers are expected to spend up to $960 billion, according to projections that were released just today. Online shopping is expected to jump 10% compared to last year.
All right, a lot of shopping to be done this year, according to the National Retail Federation. Okay, let's talk now about the Capitol Christmas tree, you know, the famous one in Washington, D.C. Well, our station in Richmond, Virginia, they were lucky enough to be able to see that Christmas tree as it stopped in Chesterfield, Virginia. That's in the Richmond area. And it was on its way to Washington, D.C., where it was making its final stop. And it was the 17th stop that this red spruce made from where it originated in North Carolina. So let's go ahead and share this story with you.
All right, check it out. On the back of this big rig lies the nation's Capitol Christmas tree. Chesterfield was the 17th stop that the red spruce has made from Pigson National Forest in North Carolina.
And today's pit stop came with a pretty special surprise. Ashley Hendricks has that story right now at 5:30. It's so hard to describe in words the experience.
Once in a lifetime.
Carrying the Capitol Christmas tree from city to city is a big responsibility. For nearly 2 weeks, Deb and Ted Kingdon have driven the red spruce, also known as Ruby, across North Carolina and Virginia. Wednesday's stop at 84 Lumber in Chesterfield only adding to the excitement on the journey to the U.S. Capitol.
A truly wonderful experience to get up every morning and to be thinking of our next stop and the crowds that come out and the excitement they have.
Dressed in over 12,000 handmade decorations, sightseers stood in awe at the size of this beauty. This year, the 78-foot tall tree was provided by the National Forests of North Carolina.
Our employees were looking on the forest trying to find that perfect tree, that then a representative from the Capitol came this summer and selected this Ruby, the tree that's behind us.
Ruby here is just one stop away from her new home, but this gift to the Capitol is just one part of her incredible journey. Wednesday's ceremony for Ruby's quick stop also highlighting the meaning of Christmas, giving back.
Supporting our veterans is what this event truly embodies.
A truckload of Christmas trees will be gifted at Joint Base Andrews in Maryland, and it doesn't stop there. 84 Lumber gifted a $100,000 check to the Fisher House Foundation, supporting veterans and their families. As a veteran himself, Ted couldn't be more honored to take part.
And it was just unbelievable, just the joy. Thank you for coming. And of course, we say thank you for coming out and supporting us.
On your side, Ashley Hendricks, NBC 12 News.
All right, such a phenomenal story there from our station in Richmond, Virginia, and also such a good cause there. Okay, so unfortunately, the holidays aren't always an exciting and happy time for a lot of people. A lot of people deal with grief around the holidays, missing their loved ones. And our station, WDBJ7, they brought on an expert that offers tips on how to deal with grief during the holidays.
Important to remember, the most wonderful time of year can bring another set of challenges for people who might be struggling with grief or loss. That's why today we're talking about ways you can embrace the season without that added pressure of being merry all the time. So joining us now is Sarah Herrig. She's with the Family Service of Roanoke Valley. Thank you for coming in today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so let's talk about it. Why can the holidays be so difficult for some people if they've had some sort of event happen within this last year?
Right. Yeah, so holidays, while they can be really full of joy and a time to celebrate, can also be really difficult for people as a reminder that that loved person for them is not there. There can also be guilt for celebrating, and again, just those traditions that they're having to go through for the first time without that person.
Yeah, and that's so difficult a lot of times because traditions can be attached to certain people or certain places even. And when we talk about grief, the first thing that comes to mind might be the loss of a person, of a loved one, but you said that loss can be different things as well.
Yeah, so I think, as we start to move out of the pandemic into hopefully an endemic, I think people are experiencing a lot of different kinds of losses, especially with regards to finances, losing jobs, not being able to have the money that they might have had in the past to pay for things around the holidays, loss of relationships that maybe they lost because they weren't able to keep in contact during the pandemic. So lots of different things that could be happening for people.
Yeah, and we just need to keep that in mind. And if somebody is maybe feeling something different this time of year rather than that happy feeling maybe they felt in the past, what are some of those signs of grief that we should all maybe be in tune with in ourselves?
Right. So, just noticing your eating patterns. Are you eating more or less than usual, sleeping more or less than usual, maybe disconnecting from loved ones, just not really wanting to connect with others, or kind of the hobbies and things that you like to do. Even can show up physically, so just feeling more tired, more tearful, those kinds of things.
And when should we be worried maybe about some of those signs? When should we be saying, hey, this has gone on for a little bit, maybe I should reach out for some extra support, some help?
Yeah, right. So, grief is a universal experience, but it is unique to everyone, and I think sometimes we have unrealistic expectations of people kind of getting back out there after a loss. But if people are noticing, I'm thinking about that loved one all the time, or, and it's really getting to the point where my grief, the symptoms of my grief are impacting my ability to get through the day, to go to work, to spend time with loved ones, that might be a time that I would talk to somebody.
And are there other ways we can cope with maybe the jolliness of the holidays without feeling so jolly on the inside? Are there any tips you could give people who might be feeling that way?
Yeah, so I think one of the biggest things is setting boundaries. So, not forcing yourself to go out and do things that maybe you're not feeling up to, while also maybe pushing yourself. I would encourage people not to cancel the holidays. Connecting with loved ones and really just trying to create new traditions while also acknowledging that special person is not there for the traditions you've had in the past.
Yeah, and that could be very powerful, just creating your own tradition, whether it's for an individual or with a new group of friends or people. So I think that's really smart. Something else, though, when we have our support system around us, a lot of times we might know, hey, my friend, they lost a loved one, or there's a change in somebody's life. What can I do as a supportive member in that group? What can I do to maybe uplift that human during this time of year?
Right, so I think the biggest thing is just being able to talk about it. I think a lot of times people don't want to make other people sad. They don't want to mention that person because it might upset them. And I think you giving that person space to talk about their memories of that person and how much they're missing them can go a really long way to help.
And for you guys at Family Service, do you see maybe an uptick in people reaching out this time of year, or does it vary?
Yeah, absolutely. I think people, this is, between it getting darker earlier and the holidays coming, I think a lot of people are noticing, I might need some more help than I thought I did in the past.
And if anyone wants to learn more about your services, where's the best place to reach you, and how can they reach out?
Yeah, so we, going to our website, fsrv.org, is probably the best place to get contact information. We're also on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. All of those places would be somewhere to look as well.
Very accessible, and we have that phone number right there on your screen as well if you want to give a call. So Sarah, thank you so much for these little tips and just reminding folks it's okay to feel different this time of year as well.
Yeah, it's normal. Embrace your feelings and know that it's okay to be sad, and it's also okay to be happy.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming in, and thank you for being with us here at home today. Coming up, November.
All right, some excellent tips there from our station, WDBJ7. For those of you who may be struggling during the holidays. All right, we're going to turn to our station now in Le Sueur, Minnesota. This is our station, KEYC, based in North Mankato, Minnesota. And they're talking about how, unfortunately for them, the lingering drought in their area could impact future Christmas trees. So let's go ahead and bring you this story from our station, KEYC.
Christmas tree farms are preparing for the holiday season. Aaron Stuvey has more on what the expected outlook and availability and how the multi-year drought may affect Christmas trees for years to come.
With snow flurries here and Thanksgiving around the corner, the time has come for many families to start making plans for their holiday decorations. Brewery Hill Farm in Le Sueur is just days away from opening their annual Christmas tree harvest, and they say that despite an ongoing drought, they have a hopeful outlook for the season.
That rain in July made these trees really well. They responded to the nutrients that we had in there, and they responded through their growth, and their color is exceptional. So the trees this year should be really good. The problem that we do worry about is like next year.
Tree farms like Brewery Hill will grow trees for nearly a decade before they're ready to be picked, meaning this year's crop has had plenty of time to grow. But in the long term, the multi-year drought could threaten trees in the coming years. The farm says that they hope to preserve the winter tradition and that the demand for Christmas trees has increased over the last couple of years, with families excited to keep coming back to the annual activity.
I always say one of the biggest problems that we have in our world is a disconnect to nature. The natural world is a disconnect for most kids. So being out here, you're connected back into nature. You actually get to see life and death.
Brewery Hill expects to see around 2,000 trees cut from their fields within the first week of their season. In Le Sueur, Aaron Stuvey, KEYC News Now.
All right, we thank our station KEYC for that story. We are going to move on to talk about a woman doing something really great for her community. All right, for this next story, we're headed to Fargo, North Dakota, where Dawn Acker is a mom who decided to make 350 Christmas boxes for children in need. We'll let them take the story from here.
Spreading Christmas cheer to children for years in what's called Operation Christmas Child. This year, she got help from a local Girl Scout group so more kids can get something for the holiday season. Valley News Team's Aaron Walling brings us the story.
I call it Dawn's Christmas Kids.
Dawn Acker is a woman full of energy and excitement. Despite being in her 50s, she's a full-time college student, a mom, and lives on farmland. And during the holiday season, she channels all that energy into making Christmas boxes for children in need.
When the kids don't have anything and, they have one toothbrush, possibly, and they share it amongst their family members, and now they're getting their very own toothbrush, you got to understand, it's something that's huge that we take for granted.
Over 350 boxes were made as part of Operation Christmas Child. This year, she got help from local Girl Scout troop 3015-3.
It'd be something great for the Girl Scouts to learn about, too, and just feel like they're so blessed, all the things that we have that we take for granted that these kids don't have that are going to receive something, and I thought we needed to be a part of this, too.
Acker takes these boxes full of knickknacks and hygiene products to local churches to help get them distributed.
People in this community are getting behind this project, and they're giving to these kids, and I think it's just incredible to think that we are making Christmas something special for them.
Acker always hopes the boxes make the kids feel loved wherever they are, and when she hears from them through emails, it just brings a lot of joy to her.
My dream is to actually go and hand deliver a box to a child, and I would just hug them, and I would just tell them they're loved, and I would just tell them, that there are tough times ahead, but there's always somebody out there that cares about them and loves them.
In Glendon, Aaron Walling, Valley News Live.
Acker is also part of a national competition with some of the proceeds going to the National Breast Cancer Foundation. For more information, go to Valley News Live and click on this story.
Definitely a heartwarming story. You can tell that mother just really, really cares. So we thank our station there in Fargo, North Dakota, KVLY, Valley News Live, for sharing that story with us. Moving on, we're headed to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, where local food banks there are trying to figure out and prep to feed those in need during this holiday season.
Banks across the Grand Strand help those in need. We're talking year-round, but around the holidays, sometimes that need increases. Our Samuel Shelton shares how you can make a difference this holiday season for those in need.
It's a blessing. It truly is to be able just to come by and get some food and not feel bad after leaving.
Michael Powers is in a good mood after getting some goods from the Socastee Pantry. Powers is currently on disability and says food stamps he would normally rely on have not come in yet, which is why nearby food pantries are a blessing.
But when times are hard, it will get you through something like my situation right now. And I've been here a couple of times. I've been here more times than I like to tell you.
The Socastee Pantry said they rely on donations to help families in need. Right now, they need breakfast foods and non-perishable items, but despite those needs, they still provide
proteins, fruits and vegetables, wholesome food that they can give their families. This time of year in particular, we want to make sure that people have food that they can, sit around the table, enjoy time with their families, have a nice Thanksgiving.
Half a mile away, the Low Country Food Bank is gearing up to provide 115,000 meals ahead of Thanksgiving, with 144,000 pounds of food making up 120 pallets. Heather Singleton is the Regional Food Center Manager of the Low Country Food Bank. As her team strives to provide for families with food insecurities, she tells me people who have never needed food assistance before are now left wondering where they might get their next meal.
Even families that are two-income families are finding that it's very difficult to afford food for their families. Just because people are working does not mean they can afford food right now.
One woman who asked not to be identified says her children don't even know she uses the food bank, but it helps her make ends meet.
Like eggs and bread and some vegetables, and then go home and revise your list, and then, go to the grocery store, and it helps you out. Like if you don't have anything to eat in your pantry, then at least you can come here and get something.
And those benefiting are grateful to have something over nothing at all.
Even though it ain't what the best that you want, it ain't a T-bone steak, but there'll be T-bone steaks in the future, but right now it might be just a loaf of bread and a pack of meat and some vegetables and some meats, but you know, it's every bit's a blessing.
Singleton says the food bank will be participating in a drive-through food distribution at the Conway Parks and Recreation Center this Friday from 10 a.m. to noon. In Myrtle Beach, Samuel Shelton, WBF News.
All right, thank you to Samuel Shelton for that story, highlighting the importance of food banks all year round, but particularly during the holiday season when so many struggle. Okay, so this holiday season, kids undoubtedly will be getting new computers, phones, iPads, and smart toys. So how do you keep them from spending their entire winter break online? Well, our station, WMC in Memphis, Tennessee, they've got our back. They've got the parents' back. They are sharing some tips on how to have that what can be awkward tech talk with kids. So let's head over to Memphis, Tennessee for this story.
Hey everyone, Andrew Douglas here in the Action News 5 Digital Desk. The holiday season, we know what happens. Kids are going to want the latest and greatest technology, computers, phones, iPads, smart toys, and they'll be spending their winter break online using these kind of devices. Thanks to the internet, of course, children have access to a vast amount of information and opportunity to create connections like they've never had in the past. But with those new challenges and with those new opportunities come some questions for families raising the next generation. How should families approach some of these awkward tech talks with kids? Well, joining us now is Kathy Pedrea. She is someone that can give us advice on all of this. Kathy, good morning. I know that you're an internet safety guru. How should parents start this conversation? Because at times it can be a little awkward.
It is definitely awkward and it could be complex, but I think you hit the nail on the head. The important thing is to start having the conversation, start it early, to have them often, and really make it a family discussion. You know, when we're talking about internet safety or digital safety or talking about instituting boundaries for our family when they're online, it's really important to have conversations about why we're doing it, a plan for maybe easing restrictions so that the kids are able to eventually start managing those risks on their own. And so the key part is just start having the conversations.
I think it's important to point out that you're like a TikTok sensation. You're considered the favorite mom friend on the platform. There was a recent survey among parents in all this about concerns with kids' usage online. What stood out to you in this survey?
Yeah, so the survey was conducted with Firefox and YouGov. They surveyed parents, and what stood out is that over a quarter of parents believe that their children don't know how to protect themselves online. And as we've been talking about these smart devices that we're going to be gifting this holiday season, you know, it's a really good reminder, again, to have these conversations around digital safety. And of course, Firefox, who conducted the survey, is a really great resource for that.
You know, we always hear about identity theft and how children's identity is at risk. In fact, we had a story in our newscast that talked about by the age of 5, children will have 1,000 pictures of themselves posted online, which is a crazy number. How can families keep their children's data and personal information secure when posting online?
Yeah, well, speaking directly to identity theft, one of the things that you can actually do very early on is freeze your child's credit. So that's a fantastic way to help prevent that. And then in terms of our data online, you know, our websites, our apps that our family uses, they say a lot about us, our dislikes, our likes, our hobbies, where we live even. So a couple of best practices is to boost the privacy and security settings. You want to disable location tracking services. You want to, if you have an iPhone, ask app not to track, utilize that function. And then also don't rely on the default browsers. Instead, opt for a privacy-focused browser. Firefox is a fantastic option because it blocks ad trackers from sneaking data. And then it also has something on by default called total cookie protection. And this prevents companies from tracking you across multiple websites.
Many mental health experts have been looking at adolescents and their use online, social media and all that stuff, especially during the pandemic. I mean, I have 2 teenagers at home, and I can tell how things are very different in today's day and age. What suggestions do you have to create kind of a healthy living online when it comes to kids, and maybe a checklist for parents?
Yeah, you know, I'm guilty of that as well. According to the survey, screen time was actually one of the most concerning factors for parents, and it's often the topic that prompted this conversation around digital safety. But, you know, you mentioned the pandemic, and media researchers during this time found that screen time and social media kind of gets a bad rap. It was actually really integral in how young people kind of address their mental health during the pandemic. And so I would say it's not so much about the quantity of screen time, but more so the quality, right? There's a lot of positive things that can happen online. And so think about what your children are consuming when they're online. Why are they consuming it? How is it making them feel? And then, of course, you know, have a conversation with your family about some boundaries if you want to institute them. So things like charging breaks at the end of the day, or, you know, turning off the notifications that say you have a new follower or a new like, because that's what sucks us back into that cycle.
Controls are kind of big among some parent groups out there. How do you have, you know, we were talking about conversations at the beginning of our talk. How do you have that conversation with kids when it comes to parental controls?
The important thing, again, is to have that conversation. It's complex, it's awkward, and it's very tempting to want to rely on parental controls. And it's great that we have the option, but the truth is they don't offer 100% protection, right? It's just a tool. And so most importantly is to have these conversations with your family. If you want to institute some parental controls, make it a family decision. Talk about the whys, and then also talk about, you know, how you can ease some of those restrictions so that kids can get that real life practice of managing the risks on their own.
Kathy, let's double back around to talk about, again, parents buying these smart toys. I mean, almost every toy out there has some sort of smart feature. So when it comes to security and safety, what's some good reminders for parents out there as they look at toys this holiday season?
Yeah, anytime there's a connected device, there's always a risk, right? But the same way that you wouldn't give a teenager the key to a car and let them just drive off without teaching them how to manage the risks of the road, it's the same with our connected devices. And actually, a really great resource for you, Firefox has this guide. It's called Privacy Not Included, and it's a really great way for you to decide which kinds of ethical technology companies you want to buy some of the gadgets from, or what kinds of apps you want to download. And they have hundreds of products there, so that's a great place to start.
Okay, I love what you just said. Is there a website, or where can our viewers go for this information that we talked about? Because I know that this conversation people are going to want to look at again, and they're going to want to kind of see some of the tips and suggestions that you mentioned.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You don't have to reinvent the wheel here. Experts have kind of laid it all out for you. So if you go to firefox.com/families, you're going to find a ton of printouts and resources and just kind of tips and tricks to help you start making this practice in your family about talking about digital safety.
Okay, Kathy Bedreas, known as Mom Friend on TikTok. We appreciate your time. Thanks so much, and happy holiday season to you.
Thank you. You too.
All right, we always appreciate our friends in Memphis, Tennessee. For quality digital desk content, if you want to see more of their content, be sure to go to their website, actionnews5.com, and click on the digital desk, and that's where you'll see all of their long-form interviews packed full of really great information. Okay, so let's go on to our station in Bismarck, North Dakota, where this is another station that has really great long-form content that we regularly visit. They're talking to an expert crafter about making and crafting homemade cards in case you don't want to just go to the store and grab a Hallmark card. or any card off of the shelf. You can make your own. And so this expert crafter is on Bismarck, North Dakota Today to talk about crafting with Michaels.
I wanted to prove that you can start making your own Christmas cards, and we get so many customers in that ask if we sell greeting cards.
Right.
And we don't. And I we will look at them and say, we sell all of the supplies to make them. And so many of those people look terrified when you tell them that.
Right.
Okay. So.
And I am a little scared here.
Are you?
I mean, I don't know. I've never made a card, so.
What's fun? What's fun about this is it's so simple. And we have, I think you probably remember me talking about that navy blue ribbon with the white dots. Right? That we had a case of it. I mean, it's so much of it.
Yes.
Well, we had the same amount of these Christmas stickers, okay? So we're gonna be utilizing some scrapbook stickers, which look like that.
So this is for scrapbooking technically?
They are for scrapbooking, yes.
Okay. So then I would imagine you have a whole aisle.
Oh, we have, yes, we have two aisles of scrapbooking stickers. However, these came in and they are a special value sticker for 99 cents a pack.
Oh,
okay.
That's not bad at all.
Not bad at all.
That's a value.
You know, and so then the card pack is the blank card pack. It's $5 for 10 cards.
Okay.
And then we have the scrapbook paper. And a lot of people have scrapbook paper already, which you could utilize. But what you need to do is you simply cut a piece of scrapbook paper like you have in your hand, and we have some cool scrapbook paper that has designs on both sides, so you can vary it. So you cut that little piece of paper and slide it in the little folder on your card, so your edges are neatly finished, and it just, I mean, you get the paper in and it already looks professional.
Do you have different size cards like this, or is this?
There is one other size. I believe it's like a 5x7, and then we have them in the creamy color, and we have them in white. And then
this is like, it doesn't even need the sticker, Beverly.
It doesn't.
Because this is already spiced up.
I know, it's
bevitized.
So it's bevitized. I love it.
We haven't used that word in a while.
We have not. So, I mean, and these stickers are so detailed. I mean, they're a layered sticker, and they do have the foam sticky back on them. But when you're putting them on a card, I recommend just adding a little dab of hot glue.
I don't know which sticker to use. They're all cute, to be honest.
I know, they're all adorable. I know.
Like, which one do I use? This is fun.
I know.
I know.
This is cute. And that's, I mean, with the one pack of stickers, you can literally decorate 5 cards.
Yeah.
And then if you want, to write a sentiment in the inside, that's perfect. We of course have thousands of markers, every color you can imagine, and I mean we have glitter pens and every color you can imagine, and so so we're actually going to prove today that you can make 5 cards in less than 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And people will think that you bought them, and they are so cute. And then we have the rubber stamps as well and the stamp pads. So if you want to stamp a little, some Christmas greeting on the inside, you certainly could do that. That will take less than a minute to do, if you lay out all of your cards, and stamp the words in the inside. I mean, we're talking less than a minute, and, so, I mean, this is about, it's about as easy as it gets. And,
yeah, just shoving it in there, to be honest.
Yes.
There we go.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, and you could use whatever stickers you wanted. I mean, you could create birthday cards. You could create, any wedding cards. The scrapbooking stickers. I mean, the sky's the limit. I mean,
Can I just say it is cheaper than buying a greeting card?
It really is. It really is. And if you're a totally devoted shopper like myself, you watch the sales. I mean, I picked up some of these cards a week ago, and I just I threw them all together, and it's just amazing how well received they were. And and like I said, you could make birthday and Father's Day, Mother's Day. I mean, you could create a stash, and then you could come to Michael's and get the card holder with the the little dividers to divide them and be all organized and ready for whatever comes your way. So
I mean, you could do this for any holiday.
You could, yes. Create a file and start creating your own cards, and like I said, they are so they're just so cute, and they look like you bought them, you know, and I don't know, I think as a crafter, you know, you always strive to make things look like they were bought, you know, and this is one way, I mean, and
this is
even if you're not a crafter, you say, I hear from so many people, I am not really a crafter. They almost look like they maybe shouldn't even be in this store.
Hey,
I get such a kick out of them.
But and anybody who watches these segments that we do at Michael's, you're here to help them too.
Absolutely.
And even your other colleagues too.
Yes.
Just ask at the project, and or you can always watch them too at KFYRTV.com. We always post these segments.
Right.
So with all of that said, absolutely.
You
so
bet.
you can find them all.
Yes, it's wonderful. So, like I said, what I'm going to do now is I am literally going to take my own advice, and I'm going to create a card file, and I'm going to, set up several different holidays that I would want cards for, because the time to make a card isn't when you need it.
No.
It's because it's just one of those things that, and I tend to be that person from time to time where I don't always get organized, sooner than I should.
Excuse me. So I think also too, like when it comes down to Christmas, you want that sentimental, like it just makes it a personal bit better, or you want to do something handmade, or
absolutely.
I don't know, the holidays just have that touch.
One thing I have learned when I do a personal gift or a personal card for someone, you can just, they just love it. They just, and I know myself, I have several friends that make their cards that they send to me at Christmas or birthday time, and I just love them because I know they put their heart and soul into it, and those are the cards I save, because they are so, it's just, they're so special.
Absolutely. And being that it's still special too, I see an item of the week here that you have.
Yes.
I have never seen anything like this before, to be honest.
I have not either. It seems that every year our lighting gets more interesting and more involved and more fun. And when I saw this string of Christmas lights, they literally have snow and a little Christmas tree inside each bulb, and the bulbs do light up. And I thought, oh my gosh, now I've seen everything, and we have, these are the little campers.
I didn't even see those.
How fun are these?
Yeah. What is that, Chevy Chase and the Christmas Vacation? There's Cousin Eddie with the RV.
Absolutely, absolutely. And there's some little, I brought some little holly lights. These lights add so much just fun to anything. You can weave them into your wreaths, into your garlands, into, I've wrapped them around all kinds of things in the home just to make it fun and festive, and they are battery operated. And so many times people think, oh, I don't want to spend all that money on batteries, but the batteries last so long in these little lights that they take almost no battery charge, to run them. And like I said, they're so cute and so fun. And among many, many, many hundreds of things that we have for Christmas that are equally as fun. But, and there's so many more. I didn't bring, all of the ones that we have. There are the metal, the barn stars in a couple of different colors. There are, the little red truck lights, and you
name it, you have.
You name it, yes. Much. And the thing I like to tell people is they sell out really, really fast.
Good to know. So sooner the better.
Yes,
so now that we flipped the calendar to November,
yes,
get on it.
Get on it, because as we all know, time goes so fast.
Especially with how slow the postal service is. Time to send out those greeting cards a little bit sooner than later.
And it feels so good. I know from my own experience, it feels so good when you are ahead of the game, as far as your gift shopping and your card, because saving things to the last minute, it takes some of the joy out of it.
Absolutely. And this is just adorable, Beverly.
I'm so happy you enjoyed that. And look at less than 10 minutes. And you have 5 cards.
5 cards, and with time to spare even.
Yes. So we, I just want to encourage people to not be afraid to make your own cards.
Yeah.
Because it's super easy, doesn't have to be terribly involved, but these little blanks make them look like you spent hours, and of course the little detailed stickers. Oh. Like you spent hours.
Yeah.
Cute. 10 minutes.
Okay, well, we'll leave it on that note. Where can we find Michael's?
Yes, we're out at 1459 in the Hay Creek Shopping center.
Can I be the first one to tell you Merry Christmas?
Absolutely.
Merry Christmas.
All right, some great content there from our station in Bismarck, North Dakota, KFYR. We are going to turn now to one of our stations in West Virginia, WDTV, and they are talking about how one Christmas tree farmer is excited and proud for some of his trees to be on display at the Capitol. So let's bring you that story, courtesy of our station, WDTV.
On an open fire, and Jack Frost is nipping at your nose. 5's Tyler Nicole stopped by a local Christmas tree farm that is getting into the holiday season in a very special way.
This is the beginning of the Christmas season.
Jim Rockus and his family own and operate Quarter Pine Tree Farms in Preston County and Smithfield, Pennsylvania. He's been running his tree and breeding farm for over 30 years, but this year is a little different. For the first time, 2 of Rockus's trees were selected to be displayed at the Capitol during the holidays.
It's just great that we in West Virginia, we have some really cool agricultural commodities, and we're doing a lot of neat things with agriculture in this state that a lot of people that live in the state aren't aware of. Very innovative things.
The 2 Canaan firs that were selected originate right here in the Mountain State.
West Virginia should be proud of the fact that Canaan fir Christmas tree originates in Canaan Valley in West Virginia. And Jim's work that he's going to take this to the next level are going to help Christmas tree farmers all over, because it's a seed source that can grow in ground that the #1 Fraser fir can't.
It takes around 10 years for Christmas tree farmers to grow your perfect tree, and they want you to know they are trying to keep up with the demand.
It's a good 10 years from the time it's a seed. And I think that's what's so important when people are talking about the tight supply for Christmas tree farmers. We are the only commodity that takes that many years, seven years to be able to harvest it and provide it to a family for the holidays. So we ask people to be patient as we get caught up from all the recent years of people realizing that the experience that our crop provides is nothing like artificial tree.
Even though it's a lot of work, Jim says it's always been fun for him.
It's been a lot of fun for me. I don't feel I've ever worked a day in my life when I come up here and actually do work. I've truly enjoyed this, and I hope I have several more years to continue doing that.
Since this is their first year displaying their trees in front of a Capitol building, Beth says she hopes the tradition continues and the White House calls her soon.
I have goals someday, maybe the White House or Biltmore in Asheville would be my second goal, but we're going to have to wait a little bit longer to grow trees tall enough for that.
Quarter Pine Farms does sell Christmas trees for purchase in their Smithfield location, and they are celebrating the holiday season with a kickoff event on November 25th, Black Friday. You can find a link for more information on our website, WDTV.com. Keeping you connected in Preston County, Tyler Nicole, 5 News.
I mean, they do say that if you find what you love, you'll never work a day in your life, and you can hear the passion coming out of that tree farmer's voice. So very exciting, and congratulations to them that their trees will be on display at the West Virginia Capitol in Charleston. Okay, we are going to go to our station in Phoenix, Arizona, KTVK. They're talking about inflation and how it can impact the holiday season. And how it won't impact the holiday season. That's something we don't always talk about. We always talk about what it is affecting, but what are some things, some staples this holiday season that won't be touched by inflation? Let's turn to our station in Phoenix, Arizona for the answer.
I'm Gary Harper on your side. You know, Christmas is next month, and that means Christmas trees and everything that goes along with it. But just when everything seems to be going up in price, and I mean everything, it seems like holiday decor may be exempt. And that's what we're talking about on the On Your Side podcast. If you're not in the holiday spirit yet, you will be soon. Some retailers are already playing Christmas music and stocking stores with holiday decor. But unlike other items, don't expect sticker shock. In fact, many items like artificial Christmas trees will be decently priced thanks to last year's supply chain problems.
But what happened was all of those trees that were sitting in China were then delivered in November, December, January, February, which as a Christmas tree company, that's not the best time to receive your goods.
Chuck Butler is the CEO of National Tree, one of the nation's largest artificial Christmas tree and decor companies. He says companies like his were left with a surplus of inventory from last season, and now it's time to unload those items with sales and promotions.
You know, this year I would say is definitely the year of promotion. It's probably the best year to buy Christmas tree artificial decor, just purely because you should be able to get some screaming deals.
And consumers already seem to be sensing the bargains by shopping early this season and gobbling up holiday decor that seems to be more affordable than anticipated.
Why are so many people buying Christmas decor so early this year?
You know, I mean, it's funny, you go into a CVS or you go into a Walmart or something, and, you know, the day after Halloween, up go the Christmas trees and up go the Christmas decor, and it happens early and earlier every year. And I think because of the inventory, these stores are putting them up and they're doing a great job of generating excitement.
All right, remember, we upload a new podcast every Monday, and if you haven't listened yet, give it a try. We cover all kinds of topics. Go to the QR code at the bottom of your screen, scan that. That will take you directly to the On Your Side podcast, or of course, you can always go to wherever you download your podcast. You will find us there. I'm Gary Harper, On Your Side.
All right, some important news you can use there, knowing that artificial Christmas trees won't be spiking in price anytime soon. We're going to turn our attention now back to real Christmas trees. And, you know, you'll walk into a museum or an event space, and sometimes you'll see a giant, tall Christmas tree. And have you ever stopped to wonder where that organization got that Christmas tree? Well, a museum in Omaha, Nebraska, they got this year's giant Christmas tree from a local couple, local to the Omaha area, who decided to donate that Christmas tree and help continue decades of tradition when that tree is all dressed up and displayed at the Durham Museum in Omaha, Nebraska. And our station in Omaha, Nebraska followed the tree's journey from its original home to its new home this holiday season. Let's get you to that coverage.
This tree once cost $5. It was tiny. Now it's a 40-foot blue spruce, and Omaha officials call it the official Christmas tree.
Now, the tree was donated by one Omaha family, and it will continue decades of tradition when it's all dressed up and displayed at the Durham Museum.
John Chapman tells us the family tree comes with a lot of family memories.
Funny how something so big could be such a big part of your family and almost go unnoticed.
It's funny to think about how the tree was there for everything, but just kind of hanging out in the background. So
Beth Overman grew up here. Her mother purchased this tree in 1987. It was kind of a Charlie Brown looking tree back then.
They had their leftover summer plants, and there was this little tree about this high, $5, and I brought it home and planted it.
Janice Teagarden never thought that little tree would grow into a 40-foot blue spruce and provide her family with decades of memories.
I used to decorate it every year. My dad would help me, and I got the pole over here too that he made for me to lift the lights up. He'd back his pickup up. And it's been a lot of years since I've seen lights on it, so that's one thing too. I'm going to get to see lights on it. Kind of bring back a lot of memories of Christmas with my dad.
The tree is growing close to the house now, and now is a good time to donate the tree to Omaha's Christmas.
It's almost touching my house. It's not going to be too long. It would be, squirrels could jump in my front window.
Union Pacific work crews roll in and take down the big tree. People gather to say goodbye to a big part of their neighborhood. Janice hopes her little $5 tree can now help make Christmas memories for an entire community.
It's just not getting cut down for no reason. It's going to spread joy. A lot of people enjoy it, and that's what I'm happy about.
On Your Side in Omaha, I'm John Chapman, 6 News.
Well, now what are you going to do at the front of the house? Need another tree. Tree lighting ceremony set for Thanksgiving night, 7 o'clock. And once again, the ceremony will be a virtual event. You can watch it you can get information on the holiday events. We have a link on our website, WOWT.com.
All right, incredible story there. Wow, a $5 small tree turned into that, a 40-foot blue spruce, and it's definitely going to be the subject of many pictures this holiday season. And like she said, you know, it's not just being cut down and thrown out, it's going to serve a special purpose. Certainly a tree with a lot of memories. Okay, let's talk about some news you can use from our station, KCRG. They're talking about how to prevent critters from chewing Christmas light decorations. And let's go ahead and get you this report from our station again out of Iowa, KCRG.
Minnesota homeowners are having a rough time this holiday season. Squirrels are getting in the way of holiday festivities. WCCO's Kristen Mitchell shows us how these critters are dimming lights and what that can be done to keep them away.
We have 3 young girls, and Christmas is everything, and Christmas is family.
James Rasmussen's Shakopee home is sparkling with lights. Lights he hopes will last him the full season.
Here's still wires from it and stuff that I'm picking up.
Unlike last year, when the holiday spirit was cut short, literally.
All of a sudden, they started shutting off, and I went out and looked, and we had an owl that had clipped every one of them. I bet you there was probably 50 pieces, and it actually made a nest, and we had baby owls underneath our deck. I thought we just had to worry about squirrels, but the owls got us.
Whether the critters are using the lights and wiring for nests, to sharpen their teeth, or eat the wire coating.
Squirrels can be really nasty.
It's a constant battle for Rob Schlosser, who started custom Christmas lighting 23 years ago.
I think sometimes they can be chewed by rabbits. I think I've seen them chewed by deer, but the squirrels will get the tree anywhere they can climb and grab it.
So really anywhere you put them?
Yeah, pretty much. You can't win.
He suggests spraying a deterrent on the wires and lights and removing all bird or squirrel feeders from the yard.
Yes, if you use larger gauge wire, such as C9 bulbs on trees, they're less likely to chew it because it's larger, although I did have a job yesterday where it was chewed even on the larger wire.
It's just part of it, you know, and it's you hope it doesn't happen often, and we've been fortunate, but yeah, when it does happen, it's just the Grinch of Christmas.
In Shakopee, Kirsten Mitchell, WCCO 4 News.
Wow, who would have known that squirrels and other critters and deer can be such Grinches? Or even owls. They mentioned owls at the top making nests out of Christmas lights, something I would have never thought of. So a really great news you can use story. Okay, for this next story, we are going to take you all the way to Honolulu, Hawaii, where city crews there spent some time harvesting a massive Christmas tree for the Honolulu holiday celebration.
Now this morning, city work crews will harvest the annual Christmas tree for the Honolulu City Lights holiday celebration. Our Casey Len is live on the windward side with more this morning. How's it going, Casey?
Pretty good, Steve. As a matter of fact, though, you mentioned city crews. I think this is probably going to be the last time that we'll be able to check in with you without having to move, because that is happening very soon. You can see quite the operation here. The city's Department of Parks and Rec, Environmental Services, they're all involved. Of course, safety, the top priority as they harvest the annual Christmas tree. Want to show that to you, by the way. A cook pine, beautiful cook pine, owned and donated by Seth Cleveland Jr., who's with us this morning. And Seth, this is the second holiday tree that you've donated to the city. What made you want to do that?
Well, for safety reasons, because of climate change. Europe, we have a lot of wiring, we have some beautiful homes here, and the tree sways, especially with the strong wind.
She is leaning a little bit, yes.
So, as much as we love the tree, it's got to go.
And talk to me a little bit more about that, because I've talked to a few of your neighbors out here. It is kind of a staple on the street here.
Oh,
People are going to be sad to see it go. A lot of memories, but it's kind of time, yeah?
Yes, it is. There's a controversy. Some people say it should not be cut, and others say, no, it's time to be cut. And I got to be responsible for the safety of others.
Yeah. No, it's certainly a mature cooked pine, and it's probably time for it to go. And what a good cause to donate it to the city for all the festivities. Seth, thank you so much for sharing not only your tree, a little time with us this morning. We really appreciate you letting, and we should also give a thank you to your neighbors and mahalo them, because this is quite the operation here.
Yes, it is.
The city gets ready to harvest this tree.
All right, we appreciate that story. And again, it just goes to show and drives home the fact that any large Christmas tree you see on display that's at least alive, it came from somewhere. And a lot of times it's these residents, these people in those communities who are choosing to donate these trees. So it's really incredible hearing the story behind the trees. Okay, so it is holiday season, and a big part of holiday season, whether you like it or not, is entertaining. A lot of people host parties, and if you're not hosting a party, you're going to a party. So we're turning now to our station in Sarasota, Florida, WWSB, as they talk about wines for the holiday season.
Corks. As we head into Thanksgiving and the December holidays, we're going to be bringing bottles to holiday parties. Now, for the best recommendations, we called in the big guns. Michael Claver is the co-proprietor of Michael's on East and Michael's Wine Cellar, and he's here with wine picks for every price point. All right, we have you here. I have so many questions. We want to pick your brain.
Go, Joey, go.
One thing I have to say, every time I go into Michael's Wine Cellar, you and your team are phenomenal about giving me suggestions. What types of information, what questions should I already be ready to ask when I come in to get the best choice?
The two things are, if you're preparing a meal, what's the menu going to be? Okay. The second is, what do you normally like to drink? Because then we help you build a tree from there.
Okay.
Oh, I like that.
That's a great, and you know, Stephanie made a good point. Everyone's wondering right now, what do we do with turkey? Is there one rule? Is it white, red? What should we bring?
You know, it's kind of a mix. You don't want to go with too heavy a wine. Okay. So I'm going to show you a couple options that are a little bit towards the lighter side. And we're going to start, we've got 6 wines. We're going to taste 3 of them.
Right. He knows us too well. If you give us 6, it's a disaster. We don't focus.
We would have been here all afternoon.
He's done this before with us.
The first wine, though, is from Alexander Valley Vineyards. Great friends of mine, one of the first wineries I ever visited. They do a beautiful job. And so let's go ahead and taste that. Now, remember my rule. You're not smelling the wine unless the bridge of your nose touches the glass.
Oh, yes. Linda has always quoted you.
So get it spinning a little bit and go right in there. You'll smell a little bit of, I get a little bit of apple.
Apple, yeah.
Oh.
Definitely.
You can taste it.
Oh, it's not overly oaky.
Not overly oaky.
Not oaky, which I appreciate.
We don't want an oaky bomb to go with turkey. We want
that makes
light.
sense.
And you could start with this and go into, if you wanted to step up from that, I would take you to France and to the Burgundy region, and one of your favorite regions is Puy-Foussay, that village, those 2 villages making. Now this is Chardonnay also.
Oh,
remember, all white wines from Burgundy are Chardonnay.
Oh, okay.
But yet, to me, taste profile-wise, that Puy-Foussay usually has a little Sauvignon Blanc minerality to it.
A little bit more mineral, more acidity to it.
But it is still a Chardonnay grape.
When you say step up, does that mean step up in price? Okay.
And let's talk price, because one of the things I like so much about your wine cellar is I think because it's such a classy, beautiful place, people are intimidated to come in and think everything here must cost a fortune. Quite the opposite.
No, there's over 250 wines in the store that are under $20.
And you handpick them all, and they're good.
All small properties like these, and the 3 that we're going to taste are all $20 and under.
Okay. And you don't have to be embarrassed by them because you know they're fine wines.
They're not grocery store wines, and they're all special picks that, you know, Terry and I have led these groups all over the world, and we've met all of these people. So these are all friends, every single one of these properties.
So we just tried an amazing Chardonnay that was under $20.
We did.
Okay, that's a great find.
It was good.
That's a great find.
If we go next, we're going to go into the first reds that you could serve with that, and I tend to like Pinot Noir. It's going to go well with your Thanksgiving meal. It's also going to work with most of your Christmas and New Year's meals too. So for that, we're going to Oregon, to Ken Wright, who is one of the finest winemakers in America. has worked with many different vineyards and just beautiful.
So, Linda, you ask about serving. This is what we serve at my house because, to Michael's point, for Thanksgiving, we like red wine, so why should we drink white just because it's turkey, right? You can serve red wine with turkey.
Absolutely, because there are other things that are going to be on that menu that are going to help match with that, too.
Good point. The potatoes, the sweet potatoes, the cranberries, the stuffing.
Some of the other things that you're going to have, depending on that spice.
My people like white wine, so we would be going with white.
Is it fair to say that Pinot Noir is kind of a red wine for people that typically like white wine?
Yes, it's a great stepping stone from going to white to a lighter bodied red. And so this is a perfect example. If you wanted to go to Burgundy, we would go to Beaune, and this is my wife Terry's go-to from Albert Moreau. They're 7th generation, incredible property. So this is a Beaune from the Beaune region of Burgundy, and it's Pinot Noir also. So if it's a red Burgundy, it's Pinot Noir. If it's a white Burgundy, it's Chardonnay. That's the rule. They're not allowed to use any other grapes.
To me. Wow. I've learned so much from you, Michael.
And the name is just the village where they're from. So Pouilly and Fuissé are 2 villages that are next to each other, and Beaune is one of the main villages in the Burgundy region.
So I will tell you, because I do buy a lot of Pinot Noirs, the price point of that Pinot Noir, I believe, was like $21.95. That is an amazing price point for a really drinkable, nice Pinot Noir. So the value there is huge. Now, we're jumping up a pretty big level here, so this is a true treat that you've brought us.
Well, we're going to Bordeaux, and one of my great friends and one of the great families in Bordeaux is the Bouard family. And this is Coralie's product. She's the daughter. She makes several wines, Fleur de Bouard, but La Dame de Bouard for her. This is going to be your Bordeaux. And I get a little bit of chocolate in that. Some
I was just going to say I would like a piece of dark chocolate with this.
You and my husband.
And this would be more full-bodied. It's not going to be aggressive to overpower anything.
So still okay with turkey, since you said not aggressive?
Yes, because some of the things, that stuffing might be spicy, so that'll work with it.
Good point. I also can see this so much for the Christmas holidays when we might be, sitting down with charcuterie, sitting down with prime rib.
Prime rib, exactly. These 2 reds that we just showed will go beautifully with that. And if you wanted to step into something different that confuses a lot of people, we're going to go to Beaujolais, because everybody thinks of Beaujolais as just the Nouveau, right? They make fabulous wines. It's the Gamay grape, which is a cousin of the Pinot Noir. And they have a little bit more guts to them, a lot more flavor coming out when they're young. And I think that's a great thing to experiment and play with for your Christmas dinner.
Is it a bigger taste then? Does it sustain kind of a heavier meal?
Yes, it would. Yeah. So it's got a little bit more guts to it. But these Bordeaux's, one of our specialties is Bordeaux, of course. And the fun for me is to find all those little gems, just like the $20 and under wines.
You're so good at it.
Those are the great things to find.
And if you enjoy wine or want help in choosing wine, it does not get any better than having Michael to come help you. And this is what's on my Christmas list, your gifting.
We've got beautiful gift packs that we're doing this year that you could make your own or go with one of our selections. But it's just a great way to take a gift to a party, to gift to your staff, friends.
All right, excellent tips about wine and what to bring to your holiday gathering and what not to bring. We're going to talk about safety here for a moment. A lot of communities are having Christmas parades this year, and they're turning their attention and their focus to safety when it comes to these events. Let's go ahead and bring you out to our station in Jonesboro, Arkansas, KAIT, as they talk about safety at the Jonesboro Christmas Parade.
Away from the Jonesboro Christmas Parade, and this year organizers say there will be new security measures. The Foundation of Arts will be organizing the parade for the very first time, and they explain safety was a #1 priority. The FOA director said when you have large crowds, you have to make sure nothing can go wrong.
If we have a no throwing policy from any of the floats, no throwing candy. To combat that a little bit, we have volunteers, increased number of volunteers who will be walking alongside the floats.
In addition to new volunteers, the FOA plans to have the Jonesboro Police Department close fewer streets to help traffic control.
All right, that's just a glimpse of the safety measures that are being put into place at the Jonesboro Christmas Parade, and I'm sure Many Christmas parade organizers are thinking about the exact same thing this holiday season. We're going to talk now about holiday shopping. It's something you either are excited about or you dread. And we're going to go to our station in Waterton, New York, WWNY. They are talking about getting holiday shopping out of the way by going to craft fairs and Christmas shops.
North Country shoppers, Christmas came a little early this year. At the Glen Park Fire Hall, the Dexter and Brownville United Methodist Churches held their annual Christmas shop. The fundraising event presented visitors with tables of festive goods in preparation for the holiday season. The items, some were new while others used, donated by the church community who made sure to set them at affordable prices. The cheapest items started at 25 cents. Proceeds generated went towards both churches.
We try to price things very reasonably, anything from 25 cents up to $5. A few things are a little bit higher, but it's just a nice annual event for people to come and do their Christmas shopping.
And with a quick drive over to North Pole Fire Department, you could have continued that Christmas shopping while also browsing through some other holiday and seasonal essentials. It was a part of the North Pole Ladies Auxiliary's annual Fall Craft Fair, which brought in more than 100 vendors to its fire hall. The auxiliary president says attendance throughout the day was way up this year, a great sign for these small business owners as they prep for the busy holiday season.
You know, when it's homemade, it just means a little more. It's, you know, people have put their heart and soul into it, and you want to shop small. I'm all about shopping small business and things like that. So we're helping out our local community rather than some of the larger chain things. So it's nice to have that.
Tayo says they were also collecting non-perishable donations to help with the backpack program at General Brown and the Brownville Food Pantry.
All right, from New York to Texas, we're headed to Midland, Odessa, Texas. You can see their website right here, CBS 7. They're talking about light decorations. They're talking about decorating the outdoor portion of your home for the holiday season. Let's go out to KOSA in Midland, Odessa, Texas.
No way, thanks. And speaking of the holidays, you may have seen it driving around. Some people getting an early start on those Christmas lights.
Yeah, we're still a week away from Thanksgiving. CBS 7's Tyler Poglish up on the roof to explain how you can also get into the holiday spirit. Tyler?
It's not Santa on your rooftop, click, click, click. It's Bahumbug lighting on your rooftop, making sure that you have the best decorated house this upcoming Christmas. For the last 4 years, Bahumbug Lighting has been decorating houses and businesses for Christmas in the Midland and Odessa area. For those who decorate their home, it's no surprise that every year when you pull out your lights, it's either the lights aren't working, wires are destroyed, the bulb is broken, the wires are knotted up to the point that you don't even care about the lights anymore, or the lights are dimmed. The list can go on and on. Bahumbug figured they could solve that issue.
So I figured there was a need for somebody to do a commercial grade product out here in the Permian Basin.
And it doesn't stop there. There are other holidays and events to decorate for throughout the year.
Yeah, so event lighting is something that we've explored as far as like weddings and other events. We also do Halloween lights, so we put the lights up before Halloween, change the bulbs to Halloween colors, and then after Halloween, go back out and change everything to Christmas colors. So
Martinez started his business as a way to make a living out of one of his favorite things to do as a child.
I love putting up Christmas lights. When I was younger, I would actually go out on my house and put them up myself. You know, I'd climb the ladder and my mom would be like, I guess if you want to, go ahead. Climb the ladder, go up there and staple everything in. It was just the small little mini lights outlining the roof, but we got it done.
This year is the first year that the company is expanding out into decorating in Fort Stockton. And if interested, you can go into our website at CBS7.com to see their page and learn more. For CBS 7 First Alert News, I'm Tyler Poglich.
All right, we have shared with you a lot of stories behind the Christmas trees, and we have one more out of Lansing, Michigan, actually specifically St. John's, Michigan. This is courtesy of our station WILX that is based in Lansing, Michigan, and they talk about how a 63-foot spruce in Clinton County, Michigan will be a new Christmas tree, and they didn't just chop the tree down and move it. They held an entire tree harvesting ceremony. Let's get you to this story, courtesy of WILX.
This year's state Christmas tree is a 63-foot spruce chosen by the Department of Technology, Management and Budget.
And today, people gathered in St. John's to see the first state tree from Clinton County harvested. News 10's Dan Ray takes us to the event.
We welcome you to celebrate and harvest the 2022 State of Michigan Christmas tree.
This 63-foot blue spruce is only the 12th tree to come from the Lower Peninsula and the first tree to come from Clinton County.
I've been on this team to do this harvest for a few years now, and it's always been a goal to try to find one that's close for me here in my own hometown. About 4 years ago, we saw this tree as we were doing our search, and I've kind of been keeping an eye on it a little bit over the last 3 or 4 years, and it finally was able to make the cut this year.
And my grandfather planted this tree. He remembered many memories on this porch, sitting in the shade of that tree, and I remember my grandfather fussing with the tree, and they would be honored to have it be taken to adorn our state capitol.
Now it's time for what we all came here to see. Let's take down this tree.
It is pretty special. We're pretty honored that our tree is going to be part of this whole celebration. It really hit me today that it's what the significance would be for the tree, so it's pretty neat to be a part of this whole thing and see so many people from the community come out and support and celebrate with us.
This is the culmination of kind of all the work we do throughout the year. And then because it is from my hometown, to see people in the band, my nieces, my nephews, all my friends and family that are out in the crowd seeing things happening today, it was just a great feeling.
We all go down and visit the Capitol tree every year, and so this year it'll be extra special.
It's going to be really cool to see it all lit up at the state capitol.
Wow, it's pretty cool to watch that happen.
Of course, we thank WILX for that story, and what a ceremony. A great idea to have a tree harvesting ceremony. Okay, we are going to go now to our station, WAFF, out of Huntsville, Alabama, where they are talking about how buying a Christmas tree this year can change a life.
Jana and Michael Williams are here to tell you how it's done. Guys, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for joining us. We love chatting about this sweet thing that you guys do every single year. Again, buy a tree, change a life.
Yes.
You've been doing it for a few years now. For those who are new, though, tell us what this looks like. It's super fun.
So this is our 6th year, believe it or not. It's amazing how time flies. So we planted our church in Madison 6 years ago. This was like the first thing that we were able to kind of just, do in the community for our team. And so buy a tree, change a life. It's really awesome. So we get asked the question a lot, why do we do it, right?
Yeah.
The reason that we do it is because, we want to spread the message of Jesus to any way we possibly can in our community and throughout the world. And this organization is awesome. So basically how it works is, we have our trees come in every single year. They're actually coming in this Sunday. We have our team.
Exciting.
We'll be open to the general public on Tuesday, November 22nd. And so, we've had, customers coming back from years and years. And how it works is they buy a tree. All of the proceeds that we get from the trees go to, us to help out in the community locally and globally, just in so many organizations that we can really just bless people all around the world in our community.
Incredible.
So cool.
I love it. I love it. And Jana, too, again, obviously you've been along the way. You guys are a married couple with the church there in Madison. What have those moments been like? Again, when you guys have seen, both locally, or I imagine you maybe haven't seen the impacts internationally, but just any kind of stories that you can share with just the impact this is making.
People have just really caught on to the vision of what we do with buying the trees and giving all of the money away. And so every year we have repeat customers that come back, and the stories that we hear,
so cool.
People like to put their money where it matters.
Yeah.
So I think it's just been a really cool thing for the community to get involved with. And we've been in the same location at the camp at Mid-City now for the last
gosh, I'm going on 4 years. Yeah.
Okay. So people now know we're going to be there. They come back. So it's just been really cool.
Yeah.
We get to meet so many people.
And when they bring their tree to their car, you know, the past couple of years, we just hear these amazing stories. You know, I mean, these past 2 years have, you know, been hard on everybody. So we get to hear, you know, things people are going through, and, you know, we can talk to them. You know, some of them will, you know, ask us, hey, you know, we know you're a church. Can you pray for me even? You know, it's just, it's so cool to see kind of the impact that it's made in people's lives. And like I said, we've had so many repeat customers over the years, and they look forward to, you know, coming by and seeing our site every year. So cool.
I love it. And on top of that, too, I mean, you guys make it so fun out there at Mid-City. Remember last year we were talking Santa, hot chocolate, right? Tell us what all's going to be out there over the next few weeks.
Well, our trees are going to go very quickly this year. There is a tree shortage. So we are thinking we're probably going to sell out in a week.
100%.
So we're just going to, every night's going to be fun. We're going to have lots of fun events. We will have hot chocolate.
Lots of music.
There's a coffee shop right there at the camp you can pop into.
All right, that is just one example of how an organization, specifically a church in Huntsville, Alabama, is giving back to their community through the purchase of Christmas trees. Let's go back to the topic of hosting parties, because it is such a big part of the holiday season, and a lot of our stations are bringing on experts and guests to help you know exactly what you should and shouldn't do this holiday season. And we will go next to our station in St. Louis, Missouri, where they're talking about how to give the gift of thanks to a hostess or a host who makes sure that everyone is happy at their gathering. So let's go ahead and get you this story courtesy of KMOV in St. Louis, Missouri.
Host who does all of the work of making sure everyone else is happy, fed, cared for, and comfy over the holidays. I'm so excited for this segment because here with a roundup of 4 of our top picks to thank the host is our style expert, our good friend, Allison Dayette. It's good to see you, Allison.
It's good to see you too.
I'm glad we're talking about this today because I was thinking ahead to Thanksgiving. I'm going to my sister's. She's already done enough planning for the family dinner, the holiday party. So your first piece of advice is to focus on giving a gift that takes care of the next morning.
Yes, exactly. Let her just enjoy a cup of coffee and you take care of the rest. So what started out as a grandma baking coffee cakes in New England turned into this national favorite of 12 different flavors. And for the holidays, I mean, a perfect choice is pumpkin spice, cranberry, cinnamon walnut, which is what, Laura, I have been giving and eating for many years. You go to mygrandma.com. You can choose from our various choices. And they have actually made Oprah's coveted O list for their coffee cakes. Slew of celebrities are like, this is what I serve over the holidays. And if you go to mygrandma.com and you choose a 10-inch cake of any flavor through December 4th, December 1st, use promo code 7OFF, and you're going to get $7 off your order for a 10-inch. But they have several different sizes to choose from. And if you don't have time to place an order online, well, in the St. Louis area, you can go to your Straub's local market.
There we go. The next one for the host who loves to mix drinks.
Okay, so Shaker and Spoon is this amazing craft cocktail box, and it comes with everything you need from the bitters, the syrups, the citrus, the garnishes to make 4 different drinks for 12 guests, because you get 3 different recipes from top bartenders all over the world, and you can choose ones that are about vodka. You call it the vodka brunch, or perhaps choose their fruits for fall. You can like use one just about for whiskey. So you can choose to give your guest, your host, be the guest, bring the alcohol, but give them the Shaker and Spoon craft cocktail box. So they can kind of mix up and be like the master mixologist behind the bar and hand out drinks, and people are like, what? This is so delicious.
Great idea there. And Allison, unfortunately, we are out of time. However, you have ideas for people who love sweet treats. And also with all this stress going on during the holidays, you suggest maybe offering a little beauty to your host and hostess. And since we are out of time, my friends, we are going to post the links to all of these items on our website, kmov.com/greatday following the show.
Some great tips there. Thanks to our station in St. Louis, Missouri. We are nearing the end of this special edition of Explore the Issue, looking into all things Christmas and the holiday season. We haven't touched yet on budgeting for the holidays, so for that topic, we will turn to our station in Atlanta, Georgia, Atlanta News First, as they talk about how to set holiday spending expectations. They brought on a financial expert who shares tips on planning your holiday budget. Let's get you to that story.
Hello, and thank you for joining us here at the First Alert Desk. I'm Maria Moreau. We are here with another episode for you, another segment of our Money Talk. It's once a week we bring you a financial expert to talk about some things that might be on your mind and in your wallet. And this week we are setting some holiday spending expectations. A lot of us are already thinking about money, especially around gift giving, seeing family, and all the excitement that do come with the holidays. And we want to help you assess where you are and what you can do this year, and to take a little pressure off of you financially. So joining us, of course, is Northwestern Mutual's Wealth Management Advisor, Samantha Holoka. Thank you so much for joining us, Samantha.
Thanks for having me, Maria. This is going to be fun.
This is absolutely a topic that I wish I had when I was younger, and just trying to gift give and see everybody and just not being in the financial place to do so. So let's start with why this is such an important conversation to have.
Sure. So, you don't want to be broke because of loved ones having you buy them gifts. So it's important to stay on the budget because it can definitely throw you off for the rest of the year. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's start with the young people. I think that's the group that is going to have this impact felt the most. For those who might have their budget a little tighter on cash this year, any advice on avoiding that overspending that sometimes can happen, especially as you're going out with friends or trying to see family like we just discussed?
Sure. Well, just like anything else, you should definitely have a budget or an allowance if we don't like the word budget. Looking at the cash that you can spare to be able to buy gifts for people, and knowing that you have the money in the bank that you can actually pay off the credit card with if you use the credit card to put it on, is going to be very important. So making sure that you have a budget, whether it's $100 or $1,000, and then really trying to consider all of the things that you may need to put into that budget, including things like travel and gifts for people, and just make sure that you're paying attention to that as you go along. I know I tend to just get wrapped up in the joy of the season and just not pay attention as well as I should. But after establishing some habits over the years, it's really helped us rein it in. And then I think that there's ways that you can creatively trim some costs as well, instead of just going to the store and buying everybody gifts. There may be some other ways you can do it. And then just communicate with the people that you are planning to give gifts to. You don't have to let them know that you're strapped or what your financial situation is, but just make sure that you're setting expectations, especially if you're used to giving maybe more expensive gifts than you can this year.
Absolutely, that's exactly right. And we are talking with Samantha Holoka. She's a Northwestern Mutual financial expert. She's here with us to talk about setting your spending budget this year, especially as the holidays roll around. We are on Facebook and YouTube, so if you have questions, we are monitoring those comments. We'll ask Samantha here below. So let's talk a little bit about this. We set New Year's resolutions, a lot of us, and part of that New Year's resolution for some could be, I'm going to save more money this year. I'm going to take this trip. But it doesn't necessarily need to start in January. So what does a holiday budget, or what can a holiday budget look like for any particular individual?
Sure. So it doesn't have to be complicated. I think a lot of times people get intimidated. I know I was when I was younger, just intimidated about how do you even keep a budget? What if I don't even know how to use Excel? But even if it's just, pad and paper, just writing down or marking into a spreadsheet, for one, again, how much do you have to spend? You need to know that number. And then also, who do we want to buy for? What are kind of some of the gifts that we're thinking of, and how much do those cost? And then if there are travel expenditures of buying airplane tickets, things of that nature, making sure you have those in there. And with those, you want to make sure you really plan ahead. Maybe a little too late if we haven't bought a plane ticket for Thanksgiving or Christmas yet. But trying to really, get good deals on those tickets in advance is going to be very important. And just monitoring that budget is going to be, it's one thing to make the budget, but then we actually have to stick to it.
Fulfill it.
And again, you're probably going to overspend with certain people. But then too, just making sure you're monitoring it so that you stay within those parameters. So, because if you overspend your budget, it's going to cut into other areas of your life, especially if funds are limited.
We were talking this morning on Atlanta News First about Thanksgiving food being more expensive due to inflation, 18 cents more than it was in 2019. And that's a big factor for a lot of people, especially with their holiday spending. Do you know of any, or have you heard in your business crazy or creative ways that people are cutting down on costs that might be helping them?
So when it comes to meals, maybe share the meal costs. I know we're actually doing that with friends this year. We're hosting Thanksgiving, but there's other people who are bringing portions of the meal to our house. So that might be a great idea, especially if everybody's coming together. So especially if you're young or things are maybe a little constricted as far as funds are concerned, is just, have other people help you with that. Also, there's definitely coupons, there's things that you can do, and just maybe be a little bit more conservative with the size of meal that you put out there. If you're anything like my husband, you cook way too much food for not enough people. So.
Another important part of this, we gather around the holidays. It's such an exciting time, especially to see family and friends. And sometimes during those moments, the topic of money can come up. And talking about money is often a difficult thing for some people. But what are some ways that they can navigate this discussion that might come up as they're headed into the holiday and thinking about their holiday budget?
Sure. So, I think the more you know about your financial situation, the easier it is to navigate through those, especially if you're feeling a little anxious about it. What I find is that when we dig into a budget, or we dig into where are we really financially, most people find that it's not nearly as bad as they thought it would be, especially if they have that budget established. And so that can also help you kind of shield some of that anxiety that may show up on your face if you're not quite sure. And it can definitely be pretty awkward. But in most cases, you definitely want to, I would say, just only share what you want to share on those things, but just set expectations though too. And I think people will really appreciate that if you're not buying them as expensive of gifts, or there's a reason why you want to have a white elephant gift exchange versus buying gifts for everyone. I don't think people will probably pry too much as long as you're being forthright with making it fun, and you don't have anxiety around the issue.
And remembering that you're around family and friends, and that's really what the holidays are all about. I always appreciate your time and your wealth of knowledge. I want to make sure we didn't leave anything out for those that are headed into these holiday months, anything to keep in mind as far as managing their budget and their finances.
Well, I would say this is a really good time of year to even be planning for next year. Right? We're at the end of the year. If we have a lot of money left over, instead of buying it all on gifts that our friends and family may or may not want, why don't we think about 2023 and what's coming up for us, and what are some of our financial goals that some of that money can be used for, or that needs to be incorporated into that budget, right? Because if we're paying off Christmas for the next 4 months, into 2023, it's going to impact what our ability to save and to do in 2023. And we know that everything is still a little bit more expensive than it used to be, and things may be a little tighter for all of us going into 2023. It's still a little unknown, so it's best to keep some cash on the sidelines. Don't spend it all on friends and family or on yourself even at this Christmas time.
Absolutely. I couldn't have said that better myself. Samantha, thank you so much for your time. This full interview and a link to Northwestern Mutual's website is going to be on our website, atlantanewsfirst.com. You guys actually put out some great tips around the holidays and New Year resolutions about setting those budgets and navigating your finances. So we will make sure to include that link. Check it out. Samantha, thank you so much for your time.
Some great budget tips from our station, Atlanta News First. Thank you so much for that. We are going to wrap up this whole Explore the Issue special edition with a few more Christmas and holiday related headlines. Let's go ahead and jump straight into it. All right, the post office is looking for volunteers to answer letters to Santa. Once verified, these volunteers can look through letters children have written to Santa. When they find one that strikes their fancy, they purchase a gift for the writer and send it to them anonymously. The program has existed for more than 100 years. Anyone interested must register on Operation Santa's website and go through an identity verification process. All right, just in time for Ralphie to tell another Christmas story. His home is up for sale. Let's go ahead and explain a little bit more about this one for you. All right, according to the website achristmasstoryhouse.com, the house in Cleveland, Ohio that served as a main setting in the 1983 Christmas classic is going up for sale. According to that website, the home now gives public tours and guests can stay there overnight. The real estate company handling the sale posted a listing that shows the house and the museum across the street are part of the deal. They have not posted a suggested price for the less than 1.5 acre property. The sale comes as a sequel to the famous movie is set to be released. I believe it actually has been released at this point. And A Christmas Story Christmas premieres. It premiered on November 17th on HBO Max, and it's part of the Warner Brothers Discovery family. Speaking of movies, Tim Allen is definitely associated with Christmas, as he was the star of the Santa Claus movie in the 90s and the sequels after that. Well, what's the latest for Tim Allen? Anything new coming out this Christmas season? Well, let's find out. Tim Allen is reprising his role as Santa Claus for a new series based on the Santa Claus film franchise, The Santa Clauses, is debuting on Disney Plus, or it has debuted by now on Disney Plus, and 6 half-hour episodes pick up with Allen's character presiding over Christmas from the North Pole with his wife and their children. Allen made 3 Santa Claus movies over 12 years, starting in 1994. The first film predates the voice work he contributed for the Toy Story film franchise. The comedian and actor has been involved with Disney for decades. All right, that's the latest for Tim Allen and the Santa Claus series. Lots of great movie content being released on the streaming platforms this holiday season. All right, that about wraps up this Explore the Issue Christmas edition. We thank you so much for joining us over the course of the past hour. We appreciate you for watching. I'm Victoria Shirley. You're watching Local News Live. We'll be right back.